Welcome back to Fast Instant Karma. Keeping a cool head when dealing with officers is a lesson that not everyone passes. Would you be able to stay calm if you were in the shoes of the person in today's video? Let's get started! In the heat of the protest, these two young men chose to lift their shirts and provoke instead of following orders to disperse. Strong enforcement measures from the authorities were triggered immediately, a reminder that self-restraint can avoid a lot of consequences.
Is there a way?
Clear.
Blocking main roads for hours and cutting off emergency lanes is going beyond the limits of normal protesting. Don't turn your message into a nuisance because a huge ego usually comes with a high price.
I just got assaulted by the neighbors.
Okay, where's he at?
The administrative check on Alton Corey quickly turned into charges of resisting and assaulting officers just because of his hot temper.
Hey man, why you wanna do me like that? Don't. And all this kind of shit.
Now.
I ain't gotta look at you.
Stay back.
Why you hitting me?
In the end, he was tackled to the ground and now faces legal consequences. Remember, staying calm and respecting the law is your strongest shield in any encounter with officers.
Head injury to the suspect. Stay laying down.
I'm dead.
This guy used the shovel to destroy public property and wouldn't stop when told to. As a result, he received 5 counts of assaulting law enforcement officers and was sentenced to 27 weeks in prison. It all started with a heated argument that escalated in a flash. The police stepped in to prevent more serious consequences and restore order.
Hi. What's going on? I got my car stolen. From here? Yeah. 130 miles an hour, and I swear to God. I teleported or something. Where'd you get the car? I don't know. I teleported.
Where'd you fire? You fired two.
Come here. Give me just 1 second.
yeah.
Did you come from Bicentennial Park?
They told me the X-Men to do it.
Okay, but
Someone told me to do it. Someone's in my
I
head.
cut him out of his seat. It's not his. He stole the car.
You saved me from the aliens.
Step forward. Stop. Don't go nowhere.
101 to 86 is behind me.
Fleeing for being drunk and disorderly, Dixon paralyzed the Wisconsin highway right during the Friday afternoon traffic jam. Even when surrounded on all 4 sides, he still took the time to chug the rest of his whiskey bottle before being pulled out. The price for that last sip was $15,000 in bail and a well-deserved criminal sentence. Raymond was accused of shoplifting and responded by attacking employees right in front of the police, like he was the victim.
Look at me, man.
Stop. What's going on?
I will. Look, those dudes stupid.
Let's go to your car.
I will. Hey, I'm gonna beat. You don't get them.
Let's go over
You
here.
don't get them. Banging.
Hey, get over here.
What?
Hey! Get down on the ground now.
Clearly high, he got pepper sprayed and still kept screaming, spitting, and kicking like he'd lost control.
I'm down.
I don't care. Get your hands behind your back.
Now he gets to enjoy an extended stay at Savannah Jail. Throwing water at officers doesn't make you a hero. It only makes you a criminal in the eyes of the law. The power of a protest lies in the value of the message, not in uncontrolled behaviors that harm yourself and organization. Police were handling a disturbance outside a bar when a drunk man returned to the scene and caused trouble with officers.
I'm gonna pepper spray you. Put your hands behind your back. Back up. Back up. Everybody back up. Bro, back up. Back up, bro. Put your hand behind your back. I never hit you. Stop. Back up.
Just seconds after he rushed at the police, pepper spray and a taser ended all aggressive behavior.
I never swung at this officer. Back up. Stop. Everybody stop. Freaking cop. What am I being detained for?
The chaos was quickly resolved.
Take a seat for me. I just can't with that history. In accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada.
This happened right in the courtroom when the sentence wasn't what was hoped for. Instead of accepting the verdict, he chose violence and crossed every legal boundary. That decision led him to face a sentence of 26 to 65 years in prison.
My name is Officer Zachary Fry. There we go.
A domestic violence case turned into a tense standoff when the suspect showed extreme aggression. Police were forced to use strong measures to control the situation.
Okay? And we'll put you in the handcuffs. And there will be no more. Thank you. Thank you, Raphael.
Weird.
I'm not gonna harm you any further, all
I
right?
got this hand when you're ready. Was swinging a metal pole and he had a ratchet, so we deployed some less than lethal.
Thanks, guys.
A man chose to vent his anger on public property instead of controlling himself. Quick police intervention stopped things from getting worse. When the suspect grabbed a weapon and ran, the K-9 unit was immediately deployed to end the danger as quickly as possible.
Drop the gun! Drop it! Hey, Berkey, stay back!
Thanks to the K-9 unit, officers quickly brought the situation under control and ensured everyone's safety.
Legs, chest moving.
So he did take one less lethal round, a 37mm launcher to the left leg.
How you guys doing? You guys just getting off work? How you doing, man?
It started as a welfare check on a man acting strangely on the street.
Sorry? Hey, don't touch me. Dude! Come here. Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
But the situation quickly escalated when the suspect became aggressive and tried to grab an officer's weapon. Fortunately, the bravery of nearby citizens helped control the situation.
Hey! You okay?
Lisa Luna faces a felony after stealing a patrol car and acting inappropriately toward officers. After distracting an officer by pretending to be a victim, asking for a blanket, she took advantage of the opening to hijack the patrol car and flee. However, this escape attempt only brought her sentence sooner with a detention order immediately following. When he chose to provoke the police, this battle was as good as lost from the very first second. Remember, the streets are no place to test the limits of the law.
Y'all ain't gotta do that, dog!
Crowd control only works when there's cooperation, and this guy clearly didn't do that. Ignoring police directions during a tense moment always makes things worse, but luckily he was still fine. She refused to speak privately because she was afraid of weapons, but then dragging a strange woman along, Amelia's logic is something even AI would struggle to debug.
Put your hands behind your back.
Sweetie, you gotta let
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
Then, when she was handcuffed, she cried and screamed like she was in a TV drama.
You're never exactly what has been happening. That's exactly what has been happening. So who's the head? You tell me. Come on, kiss me. Kiss me. And tell me who's the head honcho here. What?
And calling airport security animal control was kind of funny, not gonna lie. A female spectator named Shelby was asked by security to leave a stairway area because she was blocking the path. Police told her to leave, but she refused to cooperate.
I'm not doing anything wrong. I asked you. You want to trespass me?
We're past that.
I asked the guy the same way he's wearing a yellow shirt. He told me if I stand right here, just give me $20 and you're good. I gave him $20.
She insisted she paid $20 in bribes to another ticket checker or guard so she could stand there and get a better view.
Why am I being arrested?
She both missed seeing Shakira and picked up a stack of charges, from trespassing to resisting. One lightning-fast trip from concert to courtroom. The chase honestly felt like a documentary on terrible human decisions.
You are under arrest. You have warrants for your arrest. Stop.
He was running while dragging his dog along like a prop, even yelling threats at his own dog just to resist the cops trying to arrest him.
Tase you if you don't put that down. Hands behind your back now! Hands behind your back now! Hands behind your back or you're gonna get tased!
And look how it all ends. It's true that the dog is the only innocent character in this whole movie. Blocking a public road just because you missed the bus isn't standing your ground. It's just a bad decision with legal consequences.
Put your hands back.
She tried to play the victim, but cameras don't lie.
Put your hands back. Hey, stop.
Nearly $3,000 in bail is a pretty expensive tantrum.
Yeah, definitely whacked me multiple times. You need medical attention, ma'am?
This trick might work on TikTok, not with the police. Lesson learned in 3 seconds, remembered for life. Colleen Lohman was arrested on I-95 for DUI while her relatives were still sitting in the back of the heavily damaged car. Her crying cannot hide the fact that she was driving in a completely impaired state. Remember, safety first and always be responsible when you're behind the wheel.
DCY 4622.
A Battle Creek officer narrowly escaped death when Clark Brown reacted with extreme resistance using a dangerous device during a routine check. With 7 charges, including attempted murder, fleeing, and weapons possession, Clark Brown will face a very heavy sentence. Rachel Zion Clay was initially only detained for a welfare check, but she turned that help into a serious incident by removing her restraints and using an officer's tool to create a dangerous situation. Her bail skyrocketed to $1 million. Fortunately, everyone was completely safe after the incident.
Huh? Shots fired! Get over here! Hey, that's the air.
From harming others on Miller Avenue to a failed game of hide and seek in a warehouse, Thompson proved that running away only makes things worse, pointing a weapon at officers as close to the door on his freedom forever.
Where you at, bud? Come here.
Already under surveillance for suspected stolen property and prohibited devices, this group of young men chose to make matters worse by endangering officers to escape. Luckily, the officer was still able to get up after that fall, and the suspect personally upgraded his own sentence to attempted murder right at the scene. That's real composure right there. Bravo, bravo.
Bro, he's like, you know what, forget it, bro. Oh my god, is he going to a gun? Oh, I just do something! Like what? Oh, you do what? Oh, you kicked it! Oh my god. Yeah, they're throwing bottles at one another. This guy's so mad now.
2 clowns caused the traffic jam, and 1 random dude had to become an unpaid traffic cop. Seriously, man? Honking like crazy, almost hitting someone, then throwing it in reverse to run away? What a shame!
Use the f***ing mirrors, kid. We're in this way. We're in this way, you kid.
Don't make a f***ing scene, right?
You fuck us. You need to talk my mate out.
Get light on.
What do you mean? You kid.
What?
I said it is on.
What?
It is on.
What'd you say?
I said it is on, kid. Yeah, what of it? Hey. Yeah, I'm good, yeah. You can see my helmet, my head's fly as well.
He thought punching a helmet was smart. Turns out his hand took the real damage. Doesn't look like road rage, more like 2 camels arguing in the desert. Dude really blocked a car thinking pedals beat horsepower. Karma downgraded him to lying down mode. He tried to teach the car some traffic law respect, but ended up getting a crash course in physics instead. A Maserati driver angrily blocked an SUV. Then the cops blocked his entire future career.
Sorry.
You, mate.
Sorry.
You. What the f*** are you doing?
So I crashed.
What do you mean you crashed? I just hit my head. Don't go anywhere.
I'm not.
Don't go anywhere.
I'm not. I'm sitting on my
back.
back.
Don't go anywhere.
Look, I'm getting off.
It's a bit of
This cyclist really picked the wrong person at the wrong time.
Okay.
Why you fast? What is this? Huh? Why are you coming fast?
Now that bike's flying like NASA just launched it.
My head.
cared more about the stuff left in his car than the injured person. So, yeah, that ending is totally deserved.
It's not okay.
This guy is spamming the Y button like he can undo the ticket.
Everything all right? We got some reports that say you kind of seem like you don't know where you're going a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I'm with my family.
You with the family? Where's your family at? I can't hear you. You're walking away, sir. Okay. Because you're saying that we're getting reports that you're going in and out, been going out for a while. Okay. Do you have an ID? Just not with you? You don't have one at all? Okay. How come you don't have one? Most people usually have one. I'm curious when I don't see people that don't have one. Well, what are you doing, bro? What are you doing, sir? No, I'm just talking to you. I'm just trying to make sure you're okay.
No matter how he feels about the police, there's zero excuse for attacking an officer who hadn't even touched him yet.
Stand up. Stand up. Stand up.
That one's 100% on him.
All right, so
She couldn't accept losing her job and decided to blow up right there in public. And instead of getting her job back, she made everything way worse.
Hey, relax. Get on. Double lock it, double lock it. Double lock it.
It's hurting!
Police pulled over a motorcycle for running a red light, and the suspect immediately acted unexpectedly. After hitting a police motorcycle and fleeing, the two suspects, one man driving and one woman riding behind, were tracked down by police.
Hey, how are you?
They learned the classic lesson: never upgrade a traffic violation into a criminal charge.
Hey, buddy. Hey.
This guy was found lying in the middle of the road late at night, completely drunk. And surprise, he's a YouTuber with 17 million subscribers.
All right, well, hurry up, bro, because you're about to be going to jail. Commissioner Drive?
Commissioners. How do you get over here? Oh, that's all it is. Yeah. Bags there. Yes. I mean, there's nothing to that. So, yeah, the big old bottle of Fireball, which probably explains why you're... Yeah, you can have alcohol, right? So, what about the weed in the bag?
He thought he'd be sent home to sleep, but once cops found alcohol and illegal substances in his backpack, he switched into resistance mode. Too bad real life isn't Minecraft. You can't just run away from a charge list longer than your video uploads.
Yeah. You're going to jail again. You can Minecraft that.
Oh, I'm
Rhonda, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Rhonda took drunkenness to a new level when she demanded to call real police to arrest the officers standing right in front of her.
And she had one drink, went outside, came back in, ordered another drink, and then she just really quickly started getting really aggressive and loud, talking a lot of nonsense.
Well, they gave me chocolate milk, so...
She did threaten my wife. She said, I will kick your ass.
She did?
Yeah.
I was a single mother. I grew up here.
All right, sounds good. Did you guys kind of feel frightened and worried about being here?
We
You're asking too. It's wrong.
So how much have you had to drink today?
Nothing.
Did you serve her alcoholic drinks?
I served her 2 drinks. When she first got here, she had one, and then she went outside for a while. And
They gave me chocolate milk. That's what I was pissed off about.
From her imaginary chocolate milk to being wrapped tightly in a restraint device, she personally earned herself 3 more counts of violating bail conditions.
Help me, man. You don't fuck on me. Citizen arrest. I'm not a criminal. Yeah, I'm coming. Help. Help. It's just off me, man.
Where are we going to, guys?
No, I work in the medical field.
Be first.
They're trying to murder me. They're trying to murder me. Sorry. Help! Help!
Everybody all right? Everybody's all right.
Police spotted the suspect involved in a grab and run at a convenience store.
Wait, just saying. I need to see your cameras.
Put your hands up. Come here. Put your hands up. Put. Lift it up. Lift it up. Lift it up. Okay. Turn around. Turn around. Turn around.
What I do? Hold on. Hey, y'all back up real quick.
Getting out of the handcuffs took some talent, but he still couldn't outrun the cops.
Let me see your hands.
An all-time dumb decision.
Say 21, John, we're 1024. Stop. 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 Street. North, you ready? Tell them we side swiping, they're north on Roto. Side swipe. TBI. Right now. Show me your hands. Hands up. Passenger side. Get him. Cuff him up.
Okay, I'm just scared.
Okay. Hands up. Hands up. Yes. Yes, turn it down. Both hands, keep them up, or I'm telling you, you're getting shot. All right.
13 on 3, 1050.
All right.
Is this your car? Is anybody else in the car? No. The tag is stolen. Is that your car out there?
Oh, no.
Can you step out for me? Do you have ID on you, ma'am?
It's Donald.
Donald, yep.
Yeah.
You see him come around, he goes to the bushes.
From car theft to possession, mistake after mistake, it peaked with a failed game of hide-and-seek against a canine dog, a species that possessed the super-sensitive biological radar. If you hear barking, just surrender, because having these four-legged officers step in never ends well for anyone.
What's your problem with the porta potty? So you light a porta potty on fire?
Just a little bit.
You just want her gone?
Just want her.
They asked me to come here and ask you to leave.
Are you there?
Yes.
Who's that?
Your aunt and your cousin. So the rules are, if you come back here and we get called back, you are going to jail.
She's got like multiple personalities.
She's got mental health, absolutely.
Yeah.
She just got called. American Marine just called her.
Oh, okay.
Yep. 911, I'm en route. It's Melissa again. Melissa, this is not your property. This is American Marines. Okay. Melissa, I'm here because of you. Because you're causing a disturbance on private property. Okay, Melissa, I don't have an issue with you until you cause a disturbance everywhere you go and I get called to it.
Melissa faces charges of disorderly conduct and resisting after a series of aggressive behaviors from City Hall to the American Marine dog. Admitting to a previous arson shows that this instability needs strict legal intervention rather than a $500 bail.
Are you okay? That's why I'm.
No, it's not.
I know
It's not fair to push me in the face like that.
Okay, hold on.
That's it for today's edition of Fast Instant Karma. We hope these clips gave you a satisfying look at justice in action. If you stand with what's right and the police force, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel right now. See you soon.